Now, Australia and China are looking to keep lines of communication open and expand cooperation as both countries navigate recent bilateral tensions around trade and geopolitics. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese emphasising the need for dialogue to be at the heart of ties during his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. The visit marks the halfway point of his 6-day trip, which began in Shanghai.
We have strategic competition in the region, but we continue to engage in order to support peace and security in the region and stability in the region. And that's something that we advocate for and something I advocated for today.
Chinese President Xi Jinping echoed that tone, calling for common ground while putting differences aside. He also hailed what he called a turnaround in ties with Australia.
过去3年，我同志有3次的会晤，就事关中澳关系发展的战略性、前瞻性、方向性，比较深入，也达成了许多共识。在双方共同努力下呢，中澳关系走出低谷。 实现转换，给两国人民带来实实在在的舒适。
And for more, CNA's Deborah Wong joins us live from Shenzhen. Now, Deb, Mr. Albanese met with China's president and premier. So how significant are these meetings in the context of the stabilizing ties between Canberra and Beijing?
So beyond the photo opportunity, it does send a signal that Australia is keen to mend ties with China, given that relations soured during the Morrison administration. Now, Australia is also caught between China and the US, given that they have economic ties with both countries, as well as security deals with the US. But Albanese's presence in Beijing, does show that he's willing to keep lines of communication open with China, regardless of the politics. During the meetings, we saw that trade issues again took center stage. Trade really is an important source of important cause of concern, because what we're seeing right now is U.S. tariffs on the world really upending supply chains and also causing a lot of instability. So China did talk about working with Australia to uphold multilateralism. They also talked about imposing, enhancing free trade rules globally, also and within the region as well. They're seeking stronger trade partnerships in growth areas like green industries, medical technology, as well as climate change response. Now, one issue of concern that came up in the meeting on Monday was also regarding China's green iron issue, because that's something that rattles Australian iron ore producers, given that they are the largest, given that China is their largest market, and we do know that China is demanding renewable resources. They are demanding cleaner energy as well. So we know that industry leaders have met on Monday. They were discussing decarbonization goals. They're also discussing on how to transit to that smoothly, and right now we're just short of a formal agreement. So that is something that we have to keep an eye on in the next couple of days.
And Deb, a touchy issue, the Darwin port matter, that was not brought up during the talks. What does its omission tell us about how both sides are handling security issues?
I think it tells us that both sides are handling security issues very carefully. They're navigating this very carefully. They're keeping their cards close to the chest right now. So I think it's also really a matter of when they raise it. It's not a matter of if they raise it. After all, Mr. Albanese, he made this comment during his election vow. He said that he would bring it back to Australia's hands, and he made that campaign promise. Now, it was unclear if it was raised during the meeting that he had with Premier Li Qiang that just concluded. All we do know is that updated lines show that they have signed deals on trade and agriculture. Australian media also reported that Mr. Albanese could be meeting President Xi for a second time. It's not confirmed yet, but if the first meeting earlier today set the stage, we're talking about good relations, enhancing partnerships, perhaps it's really about setting the stage for talking about tough issues next. Now, regardless of who raises the issue, it's clear that it's a cause of concern for both sides. The port has been leased to Chinese company Lambridge Group on a 99-year lease since 2015, and that deal back then had raised national security concerns about foreign control of critical infrastructure. Now, China's response has always been that it had secured the lease transparently, they have abided by Australian laws, and they've also contributed to the port's development as well as local development. So any tensions here could affect trade relations, and we can definitely expect them at some point in the week to bring up this issue. Angela.
Deb, thank you so much for bringing us latest. That was Deborah Wong reporting live from Shenzhen.